think I can just go next, the LLM. Okay, so quick recap is right now we're going to add LLM. So we did search, we did build prompt, we need this LLM. We already have this LLM function that we used before, right? This one, but it combines both instructions and the user prompt together. So I want to split them and put them as separate things. But for now, let me quickly take this thing and we will try to understand what's happening here. Because remember when we were doing this LLM, I told you I promised to take a look at this later. So now this is the time has come. Okay, so we already have our prompt, right? So this is our prompt. And this is the response. Actually, right now we don't send the instructions. We just send the prompt. And I wonder, yeah, for the LLM is actually enough information to figure out the answer, right? It says, yes, you can still join now and blah, 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 right? So even without instructions, it was possible to figure out what is the answer. With instructions, of course, it's better. So now I want to take a closer look at this response, right? So we can see what is actually there inside. It always returns quite a few things. So it returns, so this output we saw, okay, so it's actually truncated. I was hoping to see the entire thing. Anyways, so we can look at this output, right? And when we did response output text, it's actually a shortcut to output. So this is our output. Output contains multiple things. In our case, we are only interested in the first one. So this response output message. It has content, right? Content is again a list. So let's take the first thing. So it has many things, and the thing we are interested in is .text. Right? So there's quite a journey to get this thing. That's why we have this shortcut to avoid writing this. That's not the only thing that it has. It also has quite a useful thing called usage. So usage tells us, can I pretty print it? Anyways, usage tells us that for this request, this was the number of input tokens. This was the number of cached tokens, and this was the number of output tokens. And if I go to total tokens, if I go now to OpenAI and check GPT-5.4 mini, so I'll see this model card. And this model card says the price. So it says that for input, you pay this much per 1 million tokens. For cached input, you pay this much. So it's, was it 10 times cheaper? Yes. And for output, you pay this much. Right, so now we can actually use this information from here to determine how much we needed to pay. So we have input tokens, we have output tokens. So here we see that cache tokens is 0. So right now we can create, we can get a small function that is calculating the cost for us. So what it's doing, it's probably I don't need this. So what it's doing, it's calculating the price per 1 token, right? So we divide it by 1 million, output price per token, and we just combine them, right? Because the price is per million, so we divide by million, and then it means for this particular query, this is how much we paid. So this is in dollars. So this would be 1 cent, this would be 1/10 of a cent, and this would be, yeah, 1/100th of a cent. So we really need to send a lot of queries to even spend 1 cent on this. So these models are pretty cheap. And let me actually check that I correctly put the, yeah. And when the input is cached, it's even cheaper. For cache, like you can read more about this, how to actually do this. Right now, we don't use this here. Okay, and then so right now, so these are the most useful things that you see in this response object. So the output thing, and then usage. So using this usage, you can calculate how much you spend. So now I want to take this code that we created, this piece of code, and I want to try to understand it more. So right now, what we do is we take our prompt, which is just a string, and we send it to OpenAI, right? And by the way, I forgot to mention that here we use the Responses API. So OpenAI has two types of API. One is called Chat Completions API, and second one is called Responses. Responses is a newer API. When we had our first edition of LLM Zoomcamp, Responses API did not exist. That's why there we use Chat Completions. But now Chat Completions is considered legacy, at least when it comes to OpenAI, to communicating with OpenAI. So we prefer to use responses. So it's a more convenient API, right? You will find that many providers provide that they give you a way to communicate with the OpenAI library through the Chat Completions API. So I will not go into details about that, but this is for you to keep in mind that if you want to use a different provider, like for example Grok or Gemini, I think they usually have this support, chat completion support. So they support chat completion, so you can just keep using our OpenAI client. But instead of responses, you would need to use chat completions, and then you can check it yourself how to do this. Okay, but then we have prompt. So we send one string, but typically we have a conversation message, conversation history. So when we go to ChatGPT and I ask a question, how are you? So then it gives me the response. How's your day in Berlin? Cloudy. Classic Berlin weather then. Yeah, it is actually quite cloudy. So somehow it figured out that I'm from Berlin, probably from my IP address. I don't have memory enabled. But anyways, and so what we have here is there is a system prompt. So the system prompt is, I think I can draw here. So there's, I'm just trying to see if I can use, oh, okay. So there is a system prompt inside ChatGPT that we don't see. So it's hidden, but there is system prompt, there is instruction. So the people who created ChatGPT, they say, this is how you should behave. So there are some instructions, we don't see this. So this is the first thing in the history, right? The second thing that we send is our user prompt. Now, can I use a different one? Maybe this one's better, right? So how are you is my question. Then there is a response from the API, which is the third thing. But then I also respond. I say, yeah, it's cloudy. And then there is a reply from ChatGPT, right? So this is our conversation history. So in order for ChatGPT to be able to communicate with me and to continue conversation, I want to go swimming. So now it knows that it knows the context. It has the context in order to answer my questions, right? So for that, we need to have the history of conversations. And while here we are not going to work on an application that needs, this multi-conversational thing, we still need to say, okay, these are our instructions, and this is the user prompt. So here I will call it message history. And the way we encode it, thank you, Copilot, the way we encode it is we say, okay, the role is system or developer. And the second one is role user. and content prompt, right? So here, in case of wait a second. So here, this part is our system prompt, and this part is the user prompt. So this one is constant, and here is it varies, right? It varies with the requests. And I think let me just send it. And yeah, of course, we need to replace it. I think I remember correctly, it's developer. So this is what I use here, developer. I don't really know what is the difference between system and developer. Both work. So now if I replace developer with system, it will still work. So there is probably some difference between these two, but to me, I don't really feel like this distinction is making any difference, right? So I can use developer, I can use system prompt to pass my instructions, how my system should interact with the user, and the result will be the same, right? I think chat completions has only one, maybe, like I think it's system or developer, but in case of responses, you have two, but at the end, they don't really make much difference. Okay, so now in response, this is what we get. So we decompose it into two parts. Yes, you can still join the course. So how about we take this now and put it inside an LLM? And what we will have here is we'll have instructions, we'll have a user prompt, and we'll have model. So now our code will look like that. Yeah. Return response output text. Yeah. So what we did before, or what we had before, is input was we were passing the user prompt as question directly here, but now we maintain this history, and we can send the response. We reply with output text. And if we want to continue the conversation, we can take the things from here, from the response, add them to the conversation history, and send another request. But this is not something I'm going to cover right now. Like we have all the steps that we needed for RAG. So now I can just put everything together. And where is it? So now the function RAG is slightly updated because now we have the instructions here. But now we have all the pieces in place. We have this one, we have this one, we have this one. So what we can do now is, since we put everything together, I can just say answer RAG question, print answer. So now we just implemented RAG. And we first go to the database, we fetch the candidates, things that we think are potentially useful. Then we build the prompt, right? And then we send the prompt to the LLM here. And then we send back the results to the user. So we completed the entire RAG flow. We implemented all the three functions.